There has been this absolutely bizarre culture online recently with inZOI, where you've got one extreme, which is blindly hating inZOI for absolutely no reason, being very, very selective with their hatred. And then you've got another extreme, which is like blind love for inZOI, failing to accept that it's actually an early access game that's not really a full release, and neither of these two extremes are very reasonable. As a reasonable person myself, I can see that inZOI is an early access game. It has many different problems, but it also has many huge positives as well. And given that it's only a beta early access release, it's only going to grow in the future, which is really exciting. So I wanted to take a look at some other people's opinions today and react to them all. So this video is called Drama in inZOI. When you actually just like go to the start, you'll see that he slaps her. It's so funny, actually. Like, now she's punching him. He is something, an unemployed crash out, and she's a wife baddie and a cheater, it seems. So this has basically been saying that somebody has shown up at the door, and this person has shown up for Stella, who is the cheating wife, okay? And the game is asking, should we let him in or pretend you're not at home? If we look at who's at the door, it's the guy that Stella's been cheating with, okay? But he's got a bottle of wine with him. So he's come to the, you know, the door with the husband still being there, and he's cut with the wine, and look, he's pushing him over, which is absolutely hilarious. She comes in, okay, she kisses the new guy, and then look, he's he's giving the side eye. He's walking away, and she's feeling flirty, and you see his moodlet is annoyed, which is really cute. And look, he slaps her in the face. And then he's saying a divorce. You can see it's unacceptable. After she's tried to make them divorce, he didn't want a divorce. In inZOI, you can reject a divorce, which I actually find really funny. She's attempted 4 times and it hasn't actually worked. And then they're on, I think this is attempt number 5. Then they actually get divorced. I love this video. I think it's really, really cool, actually. And I think it highlights like maybe a little bit of the Sims 2 back. You remember, do you guys remember in The Sims 2, like if you cheated and think there were consequences? But the fact that in this video, okay, like they were just kind of, all of this was happening because she's a dirty cheat. And then this guy just turns up at the door. I think it's a kind of drama that a lot of people want. And I definitely think inZOI has some drama, by the way. I've actually just found out recently, even when it comes to drama on a different topic to infidelity. Apparently in inZOI, I didn't know, if you commit crimes, you can actually be arrested and go to prison in the game. Like the game will actually take you to prison. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know until I saw a video on it. So there is a lot to inZOI, I think, in terms of drama and consequences. That is one positive. Okay, this is a negative one. So let's see the negative opinion.
Week, and yeah, it's been rough. The graphics are beautiful, let's just get that out of the way, but the game is riddled with bugs and feature designs that just don't make any sense. Your ZOI has needs such as hunger, hygiene, sleep, bathroom like in The Sims, but unlike The Sims, your ZOI can go literal days with their needs in the red with absolutely no repercussions. I've been running on 0 sleep and food for about 36 hours, and my ZOI is running around the city like nothing. Townie behavior also seems to be prescripted. I was able to predict like clockwork that once Billy Boyd here appears, Quincy will too, every single time. And they're not the only ones. Also, you can't pet the dogs and cats, like, you can't interact with them at all, why? Listen, you can call me a shill all you want, but inZOI lacks polish and seems to be a hodgepodge of features stuck together with little to no care. Cars, people, and objects just randomly disappear. Even the text seems to have been translated by AI, because what does this even mean? Credit where it's due, the build mode blows The Sims 4 out of the water, but inZOI feels like putting lipstick on a pig. It just needs more time.
Lipstick on a pig. So I think there are some points that I do agree with the video. Firstly, I definitely agree with the translation thing. A lot of the text translation in inZOI is literally horrendous and it doesn't make any sense. I feel like maybe they rushed a translation to get the early access out, but as a result, it can be a bit frustrating. I personally haven't had the issue with the needs like not having an impact, because for me that they do. Like I tried to make a let's play the other day and my ZOI literally died instantly, although they didn't die from low needs. I've never tested really depleting their needs. I do think with a lot of things he mentioned, like the lack of polish, the inability to pet cats and dogs, bugs and like the bugs and glitches and things. This is an early access release game. So I think it's unfair to definitely give strong opinions about the lack of polish of a game when it's in early access, because it's literally in early access. And I also want to say, okay, when The Sims 4 first came out, I don't know if any of you guys played The Sims 4 when it first came out. As an old man, I played this game when it came out 100 years ago, and the Sims 4 base game on release was fucking horrendous. Like, it was so bloody bad. It was literally gross. And Simmers, like, we went from The Sims 3 and people played The Sims 4 for like a week and they were like, this is absolutely terrible. And like, so many people just stopped playing The Sims when The Sims 4 came out. And it's taken them 10 years now just to get The Sims 4 into a state where it's starting to actually finally feel like a good game. So I do think it's unnecessary when people say the game lacks polish, when it's taken The Sims 4 10 years to get some polish, especially considering this one, at least they're being honest that it's early access. This is a video of somebody showing off a home that they built in inZOI, which looks pretty cool, actually. I'm just having a look at some of the build videos. This seems to be another house that somebody's building in inZOI, like a time-lapse thing, which is pretty cool. See, I made a build video in inZOI, and this is where the toxic positive extremity side of inZOI went mental at me, because I gave up after the first hurdle with inZOI. I found it extremely difficult and also extremely time consuming. And a lot of you guys got very angry with me. Satch, you didn't even try. The whole point was, as somebody who's not very good with building tools, I can build very well in The Sims 4. I'm actually an incredible builder in The Sims 4. And it was extremely easy to learn how to build in The Sims. But in a game like inZOI, for example, I found picking up the tools really hard. And a lot of people said, well, it's because you're not used to it. It is not because I'm not used to it. It is because it's significantly less intuitive. I definitely think with building in inZOI, you'll be able to build some really fantastic looking places. It's just, for me personally, it's too advanced. I feel like you can do more with it than The Sims, but it requires more effort. And I like the fact that The Sims is really great for novices. But you guys apparently hated me for saying that. The toxic positive extreme, anyway. Okay, so this person has 3D printed The Sims 4 love heart bed and put it into inZOI using the 3D printer. So in inZOI, I actually tried the 3D printer and I literally put my own head into the game. But to be fair, to be normal, I actually put a Buddha statue and it was actually really realistic. Now, this person's put The Sims 4's vibrating heartbed in. Now, I wonder if people are just going to import Sims objects into inZOI with this tool, because that would be really funny if they did. I don't know if it's like allowed or legal or not, so I'm not condoning it. I'm just curious if it's possible.
5 really cool things about inZOI.
Cool.
Number 1, you can manually drive your car around the city or wherever you choose to live. If you're playing with a group of Zois, you can even choose where everyone sits in the car.
I just want to say, I can't actually figure out how to manually drive a car in this game. I've never done it, so if any of you know, please tell me, because I haven't worked it out yet.
Number 2, you can customize pretty much every aspect of your clothing, from the texture to the length and shape. You can even put your own pictures on clothes. Number 3.
I just want to say, like, inZOI's character creator, I would say, is the best part about inZOI. It's not perfect, like it doesn't have genetics, and I feel like the presets, you have to basically choose a preset. There's no different facial features that you can choose from. Like in The Sims 4, you can choose different nose presets, chin presets, eye presets, and then attach them in different ways, whereas in inZOI you can't. But I think if they're able to change that specific side of Creator Zoe mode, everything else is impeccable. Genuinely the best character creator thing like I've ever played in any video game. Is pretty insane. Even just like the finest level of detail you can go into with the character creator, it's really outstanding. And the Creator Zoe demo is out now, by the way, so you can actually play with it if you want to.
3. Your house and household items get visibly dirty over time if you don't clean them. And once you do clean them, your house will be bright and shiny.
So I actually experienced this recently with a Let's Play with Botox Barbara, if you watch that video, and I couldn't figure out why everything was dusty. Honestly, I found it really annoying. I found it so annoying because like everything becomes dusty. This is a feature I genuinely wouldn't mind if they either removed or they just toned down so it didn't happen as frequently.
4. There is a karma system that will be affected by your good or bad deeds. If your karma gets to terrible, other Zois will judge and scold you. Number 5.
So the karma system is pretty cool, and it's kind of like the Sims 4 Get Famous expansion pack's reputation system, but in the base game of inZOI, and technically it's called karma, not reputation, but it is basically a reputation system, and I think it's cool to see in the base game of inZOI, and it definitely gives it more depth.
You can choose what animals roam around your city and how many of them you want. I chose to have as many cats as possible. You can further customize the city by choosing statues, fireworks, what type of flowers you want, etc. Let me know what cool things you've noticed about the game.
So I personally haven't actually tested creating my own world in the game yet. I'm going to be doing it in a future video, but I definitely think it's cool. You can't pet the animals as we established before, but it's cool that you can add different animals, not just add animals, but you can even change like seasonal weather. You can change how dirty or clean a city is, removing objects. It's very cool, the customization in inZOI. I think that's his strongest suit, definitely customization. Okay, so I made a jail comment. So this is the video that I found where she's literally taking her Zoi to jail. So as you can see, this Zoi's literally fighting in public, which is funny because in The Sims, like when they fight, there's like a smog or smoke, you can't see it. But in inZOI, you can literally make them fight no look. And these police have turned up and she is literally now in prison, which is honestly just hilarious. Like she's literally been taken to prison. I didn't even know it was genuinely possible to go to prison in this game. I'm gonna have to test this out at some point because it's just so cool. The Sims 4 Get to Work could honestly genuinely never, because this is just like peak gameplay. Imagine being just like such an icon that your Zoi ends up going to prison. So this is early access inZOI death where you get oh my god, oh my god, I haven't actually had a character get run over by a car yet in this game. This is why a lot of people, no, look at it. This is why a lot of people are saying inZOI is like GTA. inZOI is this really weird mix of like realism. I'm saying this is realistic, you know what I mean? Like kind of like the more morbid side, but then it's really overly family friendly in other ways. It's like this weird like all or nothing. Is it going to be family friendly or not? It is kind of cool though that you can die that easily just by not crossing the road properly. It's like the kind of realism I honestly want to see. So this creator has done a Zoi reacting to a house fire, which would be interesting.
Safe location? Where's the fire? Maybe we can put it out. Oh my gosh, the TV.
The TV's on fire.
You got this.
Oh look, okay, so they use the extinguisher on it. But I've had it before where Zoi's died in a fire. Oh my god, everything's on fire. But I've had it before where my Zois have died in a fire, so you've got to be careful. Oh, she's in there. Oh, she's literally in the fire. Okay, and then look, another fire's starting on the lot. I don't know how fires start in this game though, because they seem to be really random and I just don't really get it. Oh, well that escalated very quickly. Oh no, I was gonna say, I don't really know how fires start in this. No, I can't believe the wife and the baby died. Even in The Sims 4, pregnant Sims are basically invincible, like they can't die. I've never seen that happen before. Oh dear. Again, it's a little bit of the extra realism you may or may not want in this game. I think it's quite funny. I think it adds to a lot of the chaos in the game. So it seems like you can't die from depleting their needs, but you can die in a house fire with your unborn child, which is a bit morbid. I think most of the Sims TikToks, Reels, whatever, are mostly actually quite positive. Where a lot of the negativity comes in terms of reviews, and I just want to say, I don't really like reviews from video games like review companies, like IGN, Games Radar, GameSpot, whatever. I think I just find them all so ridiculous, and every single review by all of these companies, all of these video game journalists, they all seem to have some weird bias, and I don't really trust their reviews ever. I typically only like to trust reviews of unsponsored influencers, and also just forming my own opinion based on gameplay myself. But even though I can't stand game journalist reviews, we are going to be humoring some. Games Radar, the worst of the bunch in my opinion. inZOI currently feels like a soulless imitation of the worst parts of The Sims. I mean, before we even look at the article, I just want to say it's actually taken some of the best parts of The Sims. For example, as we established before with the karma system, that's The Sims 4 Get Famous, $39.99 or however much it costs DLC, reputation system in the base game of inZOI. In other words, they've taken actually a really great part of The Sims and put it in inZOI. I think the title's kind of incorrect. An early verdict. inZOI currently underperforms and overpromises. Interesting. It's a gorgeous game with a best-in-class character creator, but doesn't provide anything amounting to a fulfilling life for its Zois, who largely exist to eat, sleep, and go to work. That I do agree with. Currently, there's not much in inZOI in terms of their life, although again, this is one of those hard things to judge where it's like, it's in like early access, so should we really be doing video game reviews, especially a review with a score? This is a mistake I have made a couple of times when I was a smaller YouTuber, but over time I've gradually educated myself and began to realize it's not helpful to give a strong review, especially a review with a score for an early access release, because it's not fully released yet. All of the pieces are in place and there's hope yet, but its depiction of life narrative falls short at present. I do agree actually to an extent. Again, I personally couldn't find any like bars or clubs or anything when I played inZOI. I don't know if that's me being unlucky, but I couldn't find many community lots. It was just like the beach. So there's definitely a lot more that they can add, I think, to make the game more exciting. I do agree with that one. This is an article by GameSpot and they've given it a score. They've given it a 6 out of 10. They have stayed here early access. The characters and world are gorgeous. Customization is good. Open world is immersive. Smooth performance. Day-to-day gameplay leaves a lot to feel desired. The overall tone is sterile. So I'm actually in the middle of scripting a little review of inZOI myself, and I actually also use the word sterile. Haven't released a video yet. That's just a sneak peek. I do definitely think inZOI hasn't got much going on. Again, it's the same kind of message in the review that it's just eat, sleep, work, repeat. There's not much else to inZOI, although I can't help but feel like a lot of the inZOI features these people haven't really gone into. Like we've mentioned before, there's already jail in the game, and there's also like weddings and dates and other kinds of events in the game, so there's definitely a lot to do. And when you compare it again to The Sims 4 when it first released, which was just eat, sleep, work, repeat, that's all you could do in The Sims 4, at least in inZOI it has live careers instead of rabbit hole careers. So this isn't a Sims 4 versus inZOI scrap kind of video. I'm just saying it definitely has a lot more to it than perhaps was expected, but I definitely agree. It does leave a lot more in terms of like, okay, it comes with all these really cool features, but it doesn't actually come with much gameplay that's fun, and it does also lack a lot of humor. The inZOI Creative Studio has already been released, where you can make your own character, make your own house. This has very positive reviews in general. The actual early access game has not been released yet fully. It releases in a few days. It is releasing on the 28th of March apparently, and I believe it's going to be $39.99, although I don't know how much it will be in pounds. Probably the same considering the state of our shitty economy right now. They say they plan to keep the game in early access for at least a year, so it could and probably will be more. They've said the early access build may be unstable and undergo significant changes. In contrast, we expect the official release to be more stable with a structured update plan. The current version includes most of the game's foundational systems. So this is, by the way, what I was saying before, like, I don't think it's fair to give a review score because a lot of the reviews saying it kind of looks and feels lifeless. They've said literally in their statement on Steam, the current version includes most of the game's foundational systems. So I feel like if you're not reading this like statement, if they're releasing a game saying the game only comes with most of the foundational things, and then your review it says negatively it doesn't come with like more elaborate things, did you even bother to read it properly? I definitely think though, when you release a game in early access, you do definitely run the risk of people having very negative opinions, because most people don't understand what early access means. They just see, oh, it's a product, especially when it's coming from a large developer. When it comes from an indie developer, most people who are into indie games understand that it's how they have to make money, and most most people are more than willing to buy early access beta releases from indie developers to support the release. When it comes from a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Krafton with inZOI, early access release is perhaps a little bit weird to come from a bigger company. And yes, this company does make a short-term bit of money from that early access release, but they also risk the long-term opinions of the game because the early reviews of the game always will be negatively biased because they're releasing an early stripped down version. Even if they give you that very clear disclaimer that it's an early stripped down version, people will still complain that it's early and stripped down. So I guess it's just, you know, inZOI have chosen to go about it this way. So we'll just see how it goes. I personally can see both some of the negatives and some of the positives without being such an extremist about it. On a personal note, I think I'm very excited about the future of inZOI and how it will be in the long term. I'm excited to see how it will develop. If you want to see some more inZOI content, you can check out one of the videos here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.